What if I told you that you could plant 7 perennials once and literally never have to buy plants again? And even better, you could sell the divisions for serious profit. I'm about to reveal 7 fast-multiplying perennials that divide so quickly you'll have hundreds of free plants within just a few years. And plant number 5, it can multiply so fast that one plant becomes over 50 divisions in just 3 years, which at $5 per plant means $250 from a single $10 investment. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which perennials to grow, how to divide them for maximum profit, and how to turn your garden into a money-making operation. Before we dive into these profit-making perennials, if you love the idea of growing plants for profit, or just want endless free plants for your own garden, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now. We're all about smart, money-saving gardening strategies. And if you've ever thought about selling plants at farmers markets or online, but didn't know where to start, drop a like on this video. You're about to learn a legitimate side hustle using plants. All right, let's get right into it. Here are 7 perennials that you can grow and divide for endless free plants and potential profit. Let's talk about the economics of gardening for a minute, because most gardeners don't realize the money-making potential sitting right in their own backyards. The average gardener spends hundreds of dollars every year buying new plants. Perennials at garden centers typically cost anywhere from $8 to $20 each, sometimes more for rare or large specimens. If you're filling a new garden bed or expanding an existing one, you can easily drop $200, $300, even $500 on plants in a single season. But here's what experienced gardeners know. Many perennials naturally multiply so rapidly that a single plant purchased one time can produce dozens or even hundreds of divisions over just a few years. These divisions are genetically identical clones of the parent plant with the same flowers, the same growth habit, and the same hardiness. And each division is a full-sized, sellable plant that people will pay good money for. This creates 2 incredible opportunities. First, you can fill your entire garden for almost nothing by buying just a few starter plants and dividing them repeatedly as they multiply. Second, you can sell the excess divisions at farmers markets, plant swaps, online marketplaces, or directly to neighbors and friends, turning your hobby into a legitimate income stream. The perennials I'm sharing today are specifically chosen because they check every box for multiplication and profitability. They divide easily without special tools or expertise. They multiply rapidly, giving you lots of divisions in just a couple years. They're popular, in-demand plants that people actually want to buy. They're hardy and low maintenance, so they're beginner-friendly. And they have high resale value because they're attractive, reliable, and proven performers. Whether you're looking to fill your own garden beds without spending a fortune, create a side income selling plants, trade divisions at plant swaps for varieties you don't have, or simply become more self-sufficient and resourceful as a gardener, these 7 perennials will change the way you think about growing plants. Let's jump in. Number 1, Daylilies, the ultimate multiplication machine. Daylilies are hands down the best perennial for beginners who want to learn plant division and multiplication. A single daylily fan, which is one small plant, can become a clump of 8 to 12 fans in just 2 years. By year 3, that clump can be divided into 20 or more separate plants. Popular varieties like Stella d'Oro, Happy Returns, or any of the newer reblooming types sell for $8 to $12 at garden centers. Here's why daylilies are perfect for profit. They multiply incredibly fast with virtually no effort from you. The thick, tuberous roots produce new fans constantly throughout the growing season. They're nearly indestructible, adapting to almost any soil and light condition. They bloom for weeks or months depending on variety, making them highly desirable to buyers. And they're so easy to divide that even a complete beginner can do it successfully. The key benefit is rapid multiplication with zero maintenance. Plant a daylily, water it occasionally the first season, and then basically ignore it. By year 2, you'll have a substantial clump. By year 3, you can divide it into a dozen or more plants. Do this with 5 different daylily varieties, and within 3 years, you'll have 50 to 100 plants to sell or plant in your own garden. How to divide daylilies for profit. The best time to divide is spring or fall. In spring, dig up the entire clump when new growth is just emerging. In fall, divide after blooming finishes. Use a sharp spade to dig around the clump about 6 inches out from the foliage, then lift the entire root mass. You'll see it's made up of individual fans connected at the base. Pull the clump apart with your hands, separating it into sections of 3 to 5 fans each. These are your sellable divisions. Each division should have roots attached and 3 to 5 fans of foliage. Trim foliage back to about 6 inches to reduce water stress. Replant immediately or pot up in 1-gallon containers with standard potting soil. Water well and they'll establish quickly. Price your divisions at $5 to $8 each for common varieties, $10 to $15 for newer or unusual colors. Number 2, Hostas, the shade garden moneymaker. Hostas are the second best perennial for multiplication and profit, especially if you choose fast-growing varieties. A small hosta can double or triple in size each year for the first 3 to 4 years. Some vigorous varieties like Sum and Substance, or Francie, can grow from a single plant to a 3-foot wide clump in just 3 years. And that clump can be divided into 10 to 20 plants. Here's why hostas are incredibly profitable. They're the most popular shade perennial in North America, which means there's massive demand. They come in hundreds of varieties with different colors, sizes, and patterns, allowing you to specialize in unique cultivars. Large, mature hostas sell for $20 to $40 at garden centers, and even small divisions sell for $8 to $15. And hostas are incredibly easy to divide and almost impossible to kill during the process. The key benefit is high resale value combined with reliable multiplication. Choose popular varieties that sell well. Blue-green types like Halcyon, chartreuse types like August Moon, or variegated types like Patriot or Francie. Avoid giant varieties if you're selling at farmers markets because most people don't have room for them. Focus on medium-sized varieties that fit in typical gardens. How to divide hostas for profit. The best time is early spring when shoots are just emerging, or fall after foliage starts yellowing. Spring is preferred because plants establish faster. Dig up the entire hosta clump, getting as many roots as possible. You'll see the clump is made up of individual crowns clustered together. Use a sharp spade or knife to cut the clump into sections. Each division should have at least 2 to 3 eyes, which are the growing points where leaves emerge, and a good portion of roots. For selling, divisions with 3 to 5 eyes are ideal. Pot up divisions in 1-gallon or 2-gallon containers depending on size, using standard potting mix. Keep them moist and shaded for the first week, then gradually acclimate to normal conditions. Price small divisions at $8 to $10, medium at $12 to $15, and large at $18 to $25. Number 3. Black-Eyed Susan, Rudbeckia fulgida goldsturm. Black-Eyed Susan is a native wildflower that multiplies rapidly and is incredibly popular with gardeners. It's also one of the easiest perennials to grow and divide. A single plant becomes a clump 2 feet across within 2 years, and that clump can be divided into 10 to 15 plants. Goldsturm is the most popular variety and sells extremely well. Here's why Black-Eyed Susan is profitable. It's a native plant, which is increasingly popular as people want to support pollinators and local ecosystems. It blooms for months from midsummer through fall with bright golden yellow flowers that attract butterflies and bees. It's incredibly low maintenance and drought tolerant once established. And it's recognized and loved by almost everyone, making it an easy sell. The key benefit is combining profitability with ecological value. You can market Black-Eyed Susans as pollinator plants, native wildflowers, or low-maintenance perennials. They appeal to beginners, experienced gardeners, and eco-conscious buyers. The demand is high and consistent. How to divide Black-Eyed Susan for profit. Divide in early spring or fall. Spring is better because plants establish faster. Dig up the clump and you'll see it spreads by underground rhizomes. Pull or cut the clump apart into sections with at least 3 to 5 shoots and a good root system. Black-Eyed Susan divides extremely easily and recovers quickly. Pot up divisions in 1-gallon containers with standard potting mix. They establish fast and can be sold within weeks. Or plant divisions directly in the ground and grow them on for a season before selling as larger plants. Price 1-gallon plants at $6 to $8. Larger plants at $10 to $12. Emphasize native plant and pollinator value when marketing. Number 4. Shasta Daisy, the classic cottage garden perennial. Shasta daisies multiply rapidly and produce those classic white daisy flowers with yellow centers that everyone loves. A single plant becomes a substantial clump within 2 years that can be divided into 8 to 12 plants. Becky is the most vigorous variety and also the most popular, winning the Perennial Plant of the Year award. Here's why Shasta daisies are great for profit. They're universally loved and recognized. Everyone knows what a Shasta daisy is, and most people want them in their garden. They bloom prolifically from early summer through fall, providing months of cut flowers. They're easy to grow, requiring minimal care, and they're perfect for cottage garden styles, which are currently very trendy. The key benefit is broad appeal and easy marketing. Shasta daisies sell themselves. People see the classic white flowers and immediately want them. You don't need to educate buyers about what they are or why they should plant them. This makes them perfect for farmers market sales, where you have just seconds to catch someone's attention. How to divide Shasta daisy for profit. Divide every 2 to 3 years in early spring or fall. They actually need regular division to stay vigorous, so you're doing necessary maintenance while generating income. Dig up the clump and pull it apart into sections. Each division should have several shoots and good roots. Shasta daisies divide very easily. Pot up in 1-gallon containers with standard potting mix. They establish quickly and often bloom the same season. Keep plants moist during establishment. Price 1-gallon plants at $6 to $8. If you grow them on for a season in larger containers, you can charge $10 to $15 for 2-gallon plants in full bloom. Number 5. Coreopsis, the multiplication champion. This is the plant I mentioned at the start that can multiply so dramatically. Coreopsis, especially threadleaf varieties like Moonbeam or Zagreb, spread by underground rhizomes so quickly that one plant can become 50 or more divisions within 3 years. They're also one of the longest blooming perennials, flowering continuously from June through September. Here's why Coreopsis is incredibly profitable. The multiplication rate is extraordinary. No other perennial on this list multiplies faster. They're native plants with huge appeal to eco-conscious buyers. They're drought-tolerant and low-maintenance, making them perfect for beginners. And they bloom non-stop for months with cheerful yellow flowers that attract butterflies. The key benefit is sheer volume of divisions. With most perennials, you might get 10 to 20 divisions from one original plant over 3 years. With Coreopsis, you can easily get 50 to 100 divisions. Do the math. If you sell them at $5 each, that's $250 to $500 from a $10 initial investment. The profit potential is real. How to divide Coreopsis for profit. Divide in early spring or fall. Spring is preferred. Coreopsis spreads by rhizomes, creating a dense mat of interconnected plants. Dig up sections and pull or cut them apart. Each division only needs a few shoots and some roots. Coreopsis is incredibly forgiving and divides easily. For selling, pot up divisions in 4-inch pots or 1-gallon containers. 4-inch pots are cheaper and work fine for Coreopsis since it grows fast. Water regularly during establishment. Coreopsis establishes quickly and usually blooms the same season. Price 4-inch pots at $4 to $5, 1 gallon at $6 to $8. You can also sell Coreopsis in flats of multiple plants at a discount, which moves inventory faster. Number 6. Sedum, especially Autumn Joy or other upright varieties. Sedum is a succulent perennial that multiplies both by spreading clumps and by stem cuttings, giving you 2 methods to create new plants. A single sedum plant becomes a substantial clump within 2 years that can be divided into 8 to 10 plants. But you can also take stem cuttings throughout the growing season and root them for additional plants. Here's why sedum is profitable. It's incredibly popular for low-maintenance and drought-tolerant gardens. It blooms in late summer and fall when many other perennials are finished, providing extended season interest. The flowers attract butterflies and beneficial insects. And it's virtually indestructible, which beginners love. The dried flower heads persist through winter looking beautiful, adding to its appeal. The key benefit is multiple propagation methods. Divide established clumps in spring, but also take stem cuttings in June or July. Cut 3 to 4-inch stem sections, remove the lower leaves, stick them in moist potting soil, and they'll root within 2 to 3 weeks. This allows you to produce large quantities of plants quickly. Sedum cuttings are almost foolproof. How to divide and propagate sedum for profit. For division, dig up clumps in spring and pull or cut them apart into sections with multiple stems and roots. Pot up in 1-gallon containers. For stem cuttings, take cuttings in early to mid-summer when growth is actively growing but stems are firm. Cut just below a leaf node, remove lower leaves, and stick cuttings about 1 inch deep in moist potting mix in 4-inch pots or cell packs. Keep moist but not soggy. Cuttings root in 2 to 3 weeks. Once rooted, grow them on for several weeks before selling. Price divisions in 1-gallon pots at $8 to $10. Price rooted cuttings in 4-inch pots at $5 to $6. Number 7. Ornamental grasses, specifically miscanthus or fountain grass varieties. Ornamental grasses are increasingly popular in modern garden design, and they multiply reliably while commanding premium prices. A single grass plant becomes a substantial clump within 2 to 3 years that can be divided into 6 to 10 plants. Popular varieties like Miscanthus Morning Light or Fountain Grass Hamilton are always in demand. Here's why ornamental grasses are profitable. They're trendy right now as gardeners move toward more naturalistic prairie-style plantings. They provide height, movement, and year-round structure. They're low maintenance and drought tolerant. And they command higher prices than most perennials because they create instant impact. Grasses in 1-gallon pots easily sell for $10 to $15, and larger specimens can sell for $20 to $30 or more. The key benefit is high profit margins with premium pricing. Grasses are perceived as specialty plants, not basic perennials, so buyers expect to pay more. This means better profit per plant. Grasses also look impressive even when young, so they're easy to sell. How to divide ornamental grasses for profit. Divide in spring before new growth emerges. Grasses form dense clumps with thick root systems that can be challenging to divide, but it's worth the effort. Dig up the entire clump and use a sharp spade or saw to cut through the root mass. Divide into sections that are at least 6 inches across with multiple shoots. Smaller divisions are slower to establish. Pot up divisions in 1-gallon or 2-gallon containers, depending on size, using standard potting mix. Water regularly during establishment. Grasses grow fast and quickly size up. Price 1-gallon grasses at $10 to $12, 2-gallon at $15 to $20. Highlight low maintenance and drought tolerance when marketing. Bonus tips for maximizing profit. Now let me share some critical tips for maximizing your profits when growing and selling divided perennials. First, timing matters for both division and sales. Divide plants in early spring or fall when weather is cool and plants establish easily. Sell plants in spring when everyone is garden shopping, and again in fall when people are planting for next year. Late spring through early summer is peak season for farmers market plant sales. Second, presentation is everything. Invest in decent containers, at least 1-gallon pots for most perennials. Clean pots without cracks or fading. Use quality potting soil, not dirt from your garden. Add plant labels with variety names and basic care instructions. People pay more for plants that look professional and well cared for. Third, grow plants on for a season before selling when possible. A perennial that's been growing in a pot for 3 to 6 months looks more established and is easier to sell than a freshly divided plant. The extra growing time also allows you to price higher. Fourth, learn basic marketing. At farmers markets, arrange plants attractively and group by color or size. Have signage with prices clearly marked. Be ready to answer basic questions about sun requirements, mature size, and care. Online, take good photos showing the plant and flowers. Write detailed descriptions. Price competitively, but don't undervalue your plants. Fifth, consider offering bundles or discounts for multiple purchases. This moves more inventory and increases average transaction size. 3 plants for $20 sells better than individual plants at $8 each. Sixth, know your local regulations. Some areas require business licenses or permits to sell plants. Check with your county extension office or local government. Also research whether you need to collect sales tax. It varies by location. Finally, start small and scale up. Don't invest thousands of dollars in plants and supplies your first year. Start with 3 to 5 varieties of perennials. Divide them, sell the divisions, and use the profits to expand your operation. This minimizes risk while you learn what sells in your area. And there you have it. 7 fast-multiplying perennials that you can grow and divide for endless free plants and serious profit potential. From daylilies and hostas to Coreopsis and ornamental grasses, these plants prove that gardening can be more than a hobby. It can be a legitimate way to save money or generate income. Whether you're filling your own garden beds for almost nothing, trading divisions with other gardeners, or selling plants at farmers markets for side income, these 7 perennials are your ticket to plant self-sufficiency and financial opportunity. Thanks so much for watching this complete guide to perennials for profit. If this video opened your eyes to the money-making potential of growing and dividing perennials, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more money-saving and money-making gardening tips. Drop a comment below and tell me which of these 7 perennials you're most excited to grow and divide. Or share your own experience selling plants if you've already done it. And if you want to learn advanced plant propagation techniques, including stem cuttings, layering, and seed starting to multiply even more plants, check out the video I'm linking on your screen right now. I'll see you in the next one, and remember, every plant you buy can become dozens or hundreds of plants with just a little knowledge and patience. Happy dividing and happy profiting.